What's going on? You're watching NFL Daily. Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports. And coming up on today's Monday show, Mel Kiper draft grades. We're going to roll through every single division, all 32 teams, and I'm going to break down ranking from highest to lowest in terms of the grades from Mel and give you my reaction. Let's go to the NFC East here. The Philadelphia Eagles got an A, and honestly, when you look at a lot of people out there, in my opinion, on top of that, I think the Eagles are maybe the biggest winners from this year's draft. You got Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, two very good values there. Keely Ringo, you traded for DeAndre Swift. I don't know if they're going to change their name to the Philadelphia Dogs. Kind of is ringing, though. In Philadelphia, they had one hell of a draft, man. You got to tip your cap to Howie Roseman. Let's go to the New York Giants, another team that I thought did a very good job. A- grade here. Deonta Banks was one of my favorite players in this year's draft. Jalen Hyatt, Daniel Jones gets a little bit more weapons around. And then one of my favorite late round sleepers, Gervarius Owens, the safety out of Houston. Dallas Cowboys next up here. They get a B grade. And when you see a B, I mean, some of you are like, well, it's the third highest in the division. B to me is pretty damn good. Mozzie Smith, Luke Schoonmaker, a lot of Michigan there. I love DeMarvion Overshown. I thought that was a good value. And probably the best video from the NFL draft was when Deuce Vaughn's dad called him up and said, hey, you're going to be a Cowboy. The next one rolling in here is the Washington Commanders, and this is a B grade. I agree with all these grades so far. The only one I don't agree with is the Commanders. You took Emmanuel Forbes at 16 overall. Thought that was arguably one of the biggest reaches in round one when Chris Gonzalez was still on the board. So, Mel, I'm okay with your grades up to this point, but for you to give the Commanders a C when I thought there was a big swing and a miss in round one, I don't know if L's a grade, but you're going to take an L from that one. Let's now go to the NFC West. The Seattle Seahawks, another team, had another amazing draft. I remember when I first started here at Chat Sports, I felt like all the Seahawks picks always stunk. Well, guess what? Seattle had another very incredible draft. So when you look at what the trade ultimately was for Russell Wilson and what the Seahawks have gotten, had a very good year last season. I thought they were going to be the worst team in the NFL. They proved me wrong. To get a player like Devin Witherspoon, sure it was at 5. You got a great receiver in Jackson Smith and Jigba. Seattle crushed this year's draft. The Arizona Cardinals are up next here, and they got an A- grade for me. I don't get this one from Mel. I think Paris Johnson Jr. is a good player, and he's going to be able to fit with Kyler Murray. B.J. Ojulari was not one of my favorite players out there. Garrett Williams, thought it was too early. John Gaines, liked the prospect. Round 4, thought was a little bit too high. Clayton Tune, they just took a quarterback because rounds of quarterbacks started to go off the board. Arizona getting an A-, I do not agree with. The Los Angeles Rams are next up here for the NFC West with a B grade, and I'm going to tell you all right now, if you're looking for low grades, you are in the wrong video. So for the Rams, they don't have a first-rounder. If you don't have a first-round pick, I get that some people say, well, Mitch, they didn't have a first-rounder. They made that decision. So to me, how can you give a team the high grade that they did, and they did not even have a first-rounder? They didn't even get the better Byron Young. Kobe Turner was a player that I wasn't all that high on. I mean, there is nothing about this that screams B grade to me. The Rams, at most, got a C. Let's now go to the San Francisco 49ers, a B-, which was the lowest grade from Mel in the NFC West. And kind of like what I mentioned earlier with certain grades, a B- in your first pick here is in round 387. And you took Jake Moody. Like, sure, if Jake Moody turns out to be Justin Tucker, it's going to be a great pick. But you could literally say that with anyone. If D. Winters turns out to be the best linebacker in NFL history, that's a great pick. I'm not sold on this 49ers draft, man. Not at all. But I want y'all to chime in right now. Go down in the comments. Maybe this is the first time that you've heard about Chat Sports. We got a lot of new subscribers from our draft coverage, and if you tuned in, hey, man, I salute to you. But this is going to be the pinned comment on today's show, which means you're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. So I want you to scroll on down and tell me who is the biggest winner from the 2023 NFL Draft. Let's now work our way to the NFC North, the Chicago Bears. They're going to get a B+ grade, and I thought this one was a pretty solid grade by Mel. I like Darnell Wright. You need to be able to protect Justin Fields so he's not running for his life continuously. I thought the value in Zach Pickens was pretty solid. Roshan Johnson was one of my favorite running back prospects. He just got buried because Bijan Robinson is such a beast. Noah Sewell, don't love the prospect, but in round 5, Thought it was good value. Chicago had themselves a good draft. The Green Bay Packers coming in here now also with a B+. What's it going to look like without Aaron Rodgers? How are they going to build around Jordan Love? Are they going to continue to build the defense? Because last season, the defense was a little bit of an eyesore. So for the Green Bay Packers, honestly, I thought B+ was a okay overall grade. Lucas Van Ness is going to be a good player. I like Luce Musgrave, Tucker Kraft, back-to-back tight ends. I feel like Green Bay for a long time has been looking for a tight end for Rodgers. He leaves, and they're like, you know what? Let's go get all of them. Another great value pick, Carl Brooks, a player that really impressed me at the Senior Bowl. The Detroit Lions next up here with a B. The Lions have been doing so much good the entire offseason, and in the last 2 weeks, I'm just like, between the whole receivers betting on shit and now the draft, this is not a B draft. Jahmyr Gibbs, reach. Jack Campbell, good linebacker, reach. Sam Laporta, tight end, good. Not taking him over Michael Mayer. Brian Branch, really, really good value. You ended up getting Hendon Hooker at pick 68. You're just one off from a really nice pick there. Had to do it. Shout out to Tom. Also, though, I get that people get excited about certain players in certain positions. This was not a B draft from the Lions. C at best. Let's now go to the Minnesota Vikings, a B draft, and this one's too low. I thought the Vikings had a really, really solid draft. So when I saw that they got a B, if you were to ask me what team potentially had the best draft out of all of them, between the NFC North, I thought Minnesota deserved to be up there. And if you added UDFAs, I think the Vikings probably one out of the best UDFAs that they signed. I thought the fact that they got Andre Carter, Ivan Pace Jr. was pretty solid. If you count Seattle, because they basically got an entire roster with their 30 UDFAs. Minnesota grade, though, was a little bit too low for me. Let's now go to the NFC South, the Carolina Panthers. They get a B grade. You had the number 1 overall pick. You traded up a lot to get them. You could make a legitimate argument that Bryce Young is the best quarterback in this division in year 1, and that might be enough to get a big-time dub. Then you give him a receiver in Jonathan Mingo. Thought that was a little bit too high. DJ Johnson, thought that was a little bit too high. But overall, Carolina tried to put some pieces around their young quarterback. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're going to get a B grade as well. I almost wonder if Mel was one of those dudes where if he got a C on a test, he just had a mental breakdown. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their draft started with a player that I love, Kalijah Kancey. Then you get a Mauler and Mock, Yaya Diaby, who the more and more I watched on him, the more and more I started to like him. Trey Palmer, the fastest wide receiver in this year's class. I'm kind of trying to figure out what the Bucs are trying to do. Are they trying to win? Are they trying to tank? Not 100% sure, but did like some good value. Jose Romero is another sneaky option from Eastern Michigan. The Atlanta Falcons, they're going to get a B- grade. I'm okay with Carolina's grade. You got the number 1 quarterback. Tampa, I thought, was an okay one. For Atlanta, a B-. I might be a little bit lower on them than some other people. I get Bijan as probably a top 5 prospect. I'm not sold on taking a running back at the top 10. It's not really what I would have done. Bergeron, thought that was a reach, the offensive tackle from Syracuse. Zach Harrison, a lot of talent, banged up right now. Clark Phillips, good value. DeMarco Helms, good value. Overall, Atlanta, I thought that they had a solid draft. B is a fair grade to me. Let's now go to the New Orleans Saints, and for those of you that don't know, I'm a Raider fan, so I definitely chuckled out loud when I was like, all right, man, they got Derek Carr. Now you're going to go out and get another quarterback in Jake Haener. Brian Bresee, like the value there at 29. Kendre Miller, he's a hell of a running back from TCU. Nick Saldiveri, offensive tackle from Old Dominion, was one of my sleepers. Didn't think he would go as high as what he did. And then A.T. Perry, from a chat sports standpoint, the amount of graphics I saw from him when we were doing our draft review, I'm happy he ended up getting picked, or else Sam would have just wasted a whole bunch of time. If you're looking for more videos around the NFL draft, I know, Mitch, the draft's over. But hey, guess what? We're going to be putting out stuff on the 2024 NFL draft. We're still going to be breaking down stuff in terms of looking at players, grades like you're watching right now. So if you're just like a draft junkie, hit that subscribe button. I promise you, we got an awesome channel for you at the link below, youtube.com/chatNFL. Let's now make our way to the AFC. Baltimore Ravens, B+. The Ravens, to me, have always been an organization that have done a very solid job in the draft. You get Zay Flowers, an electric wide receiver for Lamar Jackson. Trenton Simpson, really good value there at number 86. Kai Blue Kelly, a cornerback that I thought was going to end up going in round 4, round 3. He slides to round 5. And then Another good value here. He's not going to be able to play because he tore his ACL, I believe, at the NFL Combine. He still put up over 40 reps, though, on one leg. Dude's strong. He's not going to play this season. But next season, yeah, he's going to be a hell of a player. Let's go to the Bengals now. A B-plus grade. And this the AFC North makes me chuckle because the grades you're going to see are these grades, I'll get to it in a sec. Myles Murphy, edge rusher out of Clemson. I thought he was going to go earlier when the draft process started. The more and more tape I started to watch on him, I was like, 28's probably fair. DJ Turner, freak athlete. Jordan Battle, solid safety. To me, though, one of my favorite prospects in this year's draft, and I'm not going to butcher his name because I can never pronounce it right, but the receiver out of Princeton. The more and more people ask me, Mitch, who's like your favorite darling sleeper? I had one of my family members, she went to Princeton, and she's like, had class with him. Bottom line, I was rooting for him. And then he had a hell of pro day. He's got hell of numbers. Love him. Happy for the Bengals to get him. Let's now go to the Cleveland Browns here with, this might surprise you, a B-plus grade. So for Cleveland, they give up a lot of picks to get Deshaun Watson, so they don't really start until round 3. Mel, how can you have a B-plus grade when you don't have a round 1 or a round 2 pick? And people are like, oh, well, you got to tie in Deshaun Watson. Has he really even been all that good? I don't know. DeJuan Jones, really good player there. And then Luke Whippler, I'm just happy he ended up getting picked to go to the Browns. He's a fan favorite here at Chat Sports. And I'm sure my boss James is probably going to buy a hoodie from him. Let's go to the next one. Coming in here, Pittsburgh Steelers, B+. Mel, are you shitting me? Everybody's going to get a B+ grade. My goodness. Steelers, when I looked at the Steelers draft, I thought they had one of the best drafts in the entire thing. Broderick Jones, you're trying to protect your young quarterback in Kenny Pickett. Joey Porter Jr. at pick 32. Keanu Benton at 49. Darnell Washington. I get that some people were worried about the knee, but that's still good value. Nick Herbig, edge out of Wisconsin. Corey Trice Jr. I thought was a locked and loaded top 120 pick. You got him in round 7. If you think that the Pittsburgh Steelers got a B+ grade, my goodness, I would have killed for a B+ grade in high school. Let's go to the AFC East now, the New England Patriots. I don't know if he just got stuck on copy and paste, but guess what? They got a B+. Chris Gonzalez, arguably the best value in round 1. He was my 1A, 1B cornerback. The fact that he fell to 17, the fact that he went after Emmanuel Forbes, good value there. New England's always an interesting team because I feel like they always try to outsmart everybody else. Chad Ryland, kicker from Maryland. I'm not taking a kicker in round 4. Antonio Mafi, one of my favorite offensive guard prospects in round 5. Thought that was overall good value. Kayshon Boutte, I actually don't think that he's going to be all that good of a player if I'm being 100% with you. And not only did they take a kicker, but they also decided to take a punter. Kicker and a punter in one draft, and it's a B+ grade. Mel, I don't know what you're on, but I'll take 2 of them. Buffalo Bills, I'm just happy it's not a B+. It's a B grade, and I think the same thing. Mel's just getting old. He saw Buffalo Bills and just put in another B. Dalton Kincaid, he was a good tight end. Not the number 1 tight end on my big board, though. Goes 25. Osiris Torrance at 59 is incredible value. Dorian Williams, very versatile linebacker, safety prospect. Good value at number 91. And then after that, I'm not really going to get too mad. Justin Shorter, okay, receiver value there. And then there's no such thing as a bad round 7 grade. So there you go. Let's go to the Miami Dolphins. B grade. Mel, you're just getting on my nerves at this point. When I saw the Dolphins one, I liked the Cam Smith at 51. They need to be able to find somebody who can replace Noah Igbenogany because not only is his last name a nightmare, his play is probably worse. Ryan Hayes, you had 4 picks. If you're comparing the Bills draft and then the Dolphins draft and they're all Bs, I don't understand how your report card's working here. New York Jets, B grade. And they get Will McDonald, good edge rusher, really good athlete. Joe Tippmann, a monster at center. Carter Warren, the offensive tackle from Pittsburgh. But to me, this is just not a B grade. Really good value. And a hell of a last name is Zach Kuntz, the tight end out of Old Dominion. Really athletic, 6'8", 250-pounder. I really believe that I thought he was going to go in round 4, round 5. The fact that he fell to round 7, really good value for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. So if we have a winner, you also have to have a loser as well. Who is the biggest loser from the 2023 NFL Draft? Please let me know with your answers down in the comments. Let's now go to the AFC South. The Tennessee Titans, B+ grade from Mel Kiper Jr. Tennessee, to me, did okay. I love the value of Peter Skoronski. You needed to be able to continue to build the line for Derrick Henry. Will Levis, I think he had less than a 1% chance to slide out of round one. Ends up going there at 33. Tajay Spears, really good running back prospect. And then a tight end who's got some red zone ability, and Josh Wiley, really tall. I think he's like 6'7", 6'8". The Titans, okay, not a B+. Thought it was a little bit lower. I would have given him a C, C+. Houston Texans. If you think that the Titans had a better draft than Houston, Mel, what are you doing to me, man? Some people are like, well, they had 12 picks entering. Yes, they did have 12 picks entering. You got C.J. Stroud and you got Will Anderson Jr. I mean, that alone to me warrants an A grade. Tank Dell, loved the story of him messaging Houston, said, don't let me leave. Juice Scruggs is a monster of a reach. I don't care what anyone says. It's a big-time reach. Henry To'oTo'o, good player. Happy was able to go in round 5. Thought he was probably going to go a little bit earlier. And then Jarrett Patterson, the center out of Notre Dame. I thought the Texans had some good picks overall. Patterson might be the best center on that team. Sorry, Scruggs. Let's now go to the Indianapolis Colts. A B grade. You went with Anthony Richardson. And from a fantasy football standpoint, Jonathan Taylor, I'm going to tell you all right now, number 1 overall pick in fantasy drafts in a standard league because running quarterbacks help out running backs a lot, and Richardson's going to be a hell of a player. Love Julius Brents, long limb, Josh Downs, hell of a receiver from North Carolina. Blake Freeland was probably one of my favorite offensive tackle prospects. Darius Rush, good value. Daniel Scott's a hell of a center fielder. I thought the Colts deserved a little bit higher of a grade than a B. The Jacksonville Jaguars, B grade from Mel Kiper. First pick was Anton Harrison, Brent Strange, Tank Bigsby, Ventrell Miller, I thought was a little bit of a reach. Overall, didn't think that they deserved a B. I probably would have put them in the C, C+ range. Let's now work our way to the AFC West, which I believe if you average out all of the draft grades from every single division, the AFC West was the lowest. The Broncos don't have a round 1 pick. Round 2, 63, Marvin Mims Jr. get an extra receiver for Russell Wilson. Drew Sanders, phenomenal value. Riley Moss, athletic freak. J.L. Skinner is a safety that I like a lot. However, in the offseason, he tore his pec muscle, so I'll be curious to see how ready he is to go for week 1. Broncos, though, no chance in hell they get a B, C at best. Kansas City Chiefs, next up here, they get a B. I'm pretty sure he just watched Oprah's show where you get a B, everybody gets a B. Felix, I can never get your name right, so edge rusher from Kansas State. Rashee Rice, wide receiver from SMU. It sounds like Patrick Mahomes one of them, so if you're a Chiefs fan and you don't like the pick, if Mahomes says that he likes him, you should probably be okay. The Chiefs draft grades, though, it's not a B. The Los Angeles Chargers, B. My goodness, this is like my report card in high school all over again, just littered with B's and B's pluses. Quentin Johnson, weird pick to me. To me, he's Mike Williams, but Mike Williams is more of outside. Johnson's more of a slot. They are trying to get some big players, though, around Justin Herbert. Deion Henley, good coverage linebacker. Darius Davis, another wide receiver there from TCU. And then Max Duggan. I mean, they just went the TCU train. Max is going to be a really good backup in the NFL, and I wish him nothing but the best. And then the Las Vegas Raiders, a B- grade. For the record, on my show, I gave the Raiders a B- grade as well. Tyree Wilson, great edge rusher. Michael Mayer, the number 1 tight end in this class, went at 35. Raiders had a big-time need with Byron Young. Trey Tucker is really weird at wide receiver to me. You almost got to trade Hunter Renfrow for it to make sense. Jacorian Bennett, good versatile corner. Aiden O'Connell, for everyone who watches the show, told you so. Christopher Smith, Armari Burney. And then that rounded out the Raiders' picks, where they also had another defensive tackle in round 7, but at the end of the day, they're looking for just value. So when you see all of those picks, you see all the grades, I ran through, I believe, just about everyone. Grade Mel Kiper's draft grades. I know, Mel's going to give grades. I'm going to give a grade as well. So A, B, C, D, or F. I don't know if you could tell my anger. Mel Kiper, your draft grades, it's got to be I was going to say B, but I'm just kidding. It's a big fat F. If your job as an analyst is to give takes and everybody is A to B-, I mean, we're living in a cupcake, rainbows, butterflies, and unicorn world right now. I don't get it. I don't get how everybody can be a B-. Grow a set, have a take. That's my take. Mel, you're getting an F.